You're listening to the Awakening Woman Ready to Thrive. I'm your host, Florence Agpabi, and this is your space to return to your truth, your rhythm, your power. Let's begin. Welcome back to another episode of The Awakening Woman. We are on episode 7 and there's only one more episode left after this. So I wanted to recap where we are. So the first 2 episodes were really about setting the scene, exploring the idea of what it means to be an awakening woman, striving to liberate herself from the things that want to confine and diminish her. Awakening isn't about transcendence. It's not about escaping or never feeling pain or broken or what it means to be human. It's about seeing life for what it is with our eyes wide open, including our past hurts, where we come from, our lineage, what has shaped us, what has brought us to where we are now, our current conditions. But one really, really important factor about the awakening woman, yes, it's having that ability to look back and the ability to be grounded in the now, but it's also about still choosing to do the work, still choosing to root into and work towards future dreams, regardless of the systems, regardless of the things that maybe have shaped us or have silenced us or diminished us in the past. It's about our return to sovereignty and truth. So after we set the scene with those first 2 episodes, and if you haven't had a chance to listen to them, please do. I personally think that they are great. We then heard from guests, 4 women, around their understanding of awakening and how this has shown up in their own life. I really had some beautiful moments in each of those conversations, but with where I am right now, and just to place this is where we at. Like, we're the 5th, 6th of August right now, and this is post my slip and fall and hitting of the head, which has really rejigged where I am and has really brought something deeper and truer that was stirring underneath to the surface, and I'm excited about sharing it with you. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. So yeah, I've had some really beautiful conversations, but what really connects with where I am right now is my last conversation with AJ in episode 6 in particular, where she spoke about the sacrificial and painful nature of awakening. And I love that we were able to talk about that because, you know, awakening can be such a spiritualized concept. It can lose some of the truth, the nuance, the complexity, the depth that exists when we are experiencing awakening. And like, even when we use terms like threshold, it can feel like, you know, it's something that you walk through a doorway and you go in one way and you come out another, but it's not like that at all. Not many people talk about the grief, the sorrow, the confusion, the terror, the bloodiness of awakening. Because here's the truth, transformation is ugly. It's not neat. It's not pretty. I mean, I've never personally seen it, but I've heard it said that if you split a caterpillar's cocoon before it's ready to come out, it will not be a pretty sight. And awakening is just another form of transformation. When we think about what transformation is, it's the process of changing across or beyond the initial form or shape that was held. So why on earth wouldn't there be loss, sacrifice, or pain? And when we think about it this way, when I think about it this way, it makes so much sense that we might balk at the idea of change, because change requires adaptation. The very essence of change requires us to adapt. It requires the systems around us to adapt. And adaptation requires sacrifice. It means losing something, letting go of something. But the funny thing is, for some of us, we just reach a place where either we change and we learn to embrace it, because to do otherwise is like its own death, or the universe, life, forces us into change making situations over and over and over again. And you are not exempt if you've been doing the work, because the work is never over. And, you know, that's what I mean, like, with the fall. I'm going to put it in quotes. The fall, my accident, the accident. As I said, it's brought a lot of stuff to the surface. You know, I was in this place where I felt like, oh yeah, I knew who I was, I knew where I was, and then that hit to the head revealed even more. It brought up even more layers of truth. It opened my eyes, it awoke me in deeper, newer ways. I thought I knew the truth before, but the fall, the hit, it's like, I don't know whether it was like coming face to face with my own mortality in such a shocking way, or it was seeing the fear on my daughter's face, in her eyes, as you know, she screamed out my name in terror. To be honest, like, I was having a shower this morning, and sometimes I just get flashbacks, and it replays in my head, and it always brings tears to my eyes, because it could have been so different. And that kind of experience, I'm sorry, if things don't get rejigged in you from that kind of experience, I don't know, like, what it would take. So yeah, that accident is what, 11, 12 days. I've still got some bruises that are healing. They're more or less faded now, but I know where to look to see them. And as I said, I'm still having like the replays, the flashbacks. So that accident has changed me in ways that I can't fully comprehend yet, but I already feel, not just as emotions, but in my beliefs, in my actions. And what I know is that it has transformed me, and that means that it's calling me to leave something behind. There is a cost to awakening, and we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about it as much as we could. So, where does that bring me to in relation to today's episode? Well, today I want to talk about a core truth, that success isn't neutral. How being successful isn't neutral, and how even when we talk about creating success on your terms, it's not the same journey. that we all take. And I want to particularly talk about this through the lens of my lived experience as a Black woman and mother, raised by African parents, born and raised in the UK. So not my parents, me. I was born and raised in the UK. Because one of the things that's just become so glaringly obvious for me, the more I am in the personal development and spirituality space, is that the definitions of success that I see around, let me just say it bluntly, they are white. They are white definitions of success. When I was on the lookout for aligned women to interview on my podcast, honestly, I couldn't find a single aligned Black or brown woman in my community, in my network, that could speak into the topic of awakening from a truly liberatory and diverse perspective. Apart from one friend who I have, who has gifted something in the thank you bundle, and you don't want to miss that, all of the Black women I know who speak about sovereignty, awakening, and liberation are still largely working from a biblical mindset, a biblical worldview. And regardless of how free they feel or believe they are, that in itself, to me, is the problem. Because religion has been one of the biggest strongholds to success and awakening in my life and in the lives of so many Black and brown people that I see, not just in my physical life, but when I connect with people online and I see how much religion has shaped, curtailed their ability to be successful, I'm like, I'm sorry. Regardless of how great you think Jesus or God is, the very fact that Christianity is a gift of colonization that has been used to enslave more than the body across generations, it doesn't magically erase that. It has done so much harm, and it still continues to do harm to this day. So yeah, that was an interesting thing for me, that I couldn't find one Black woman who could talk about awakening, sovereignty, liberation without having to make it about God or Jesus or the Bible. It blew my mind. And it made me think about Encanto. Have you watched it? It's one of mine and my little girl's favorites. We love the music. She loves the music. She especially loves Louisa and Mirabel. Louisa's song stands out to me, actually, because it's all about being strong. Yet she's only strong because she has to be, because she believes that's the only way that she can be of use or benefit, the only way that she can survive, not because that's what she wants to be, but it's who she is forced to be. And it reminds me so much of what it means to be a Black woman. The stereotype of Black women is a woman who is strong and fierce. And yes, we are. But why wouldn't we be when we've had to hold and carry so much generationally? I see Louisa in myself, in my life. I see her in the life of every black woman who has nearly broken her back under the weight of every obstacle, burden, expectation, barrier that has been heaped on her. Not because she wants it, simply because of the color of her skin. And I ask you, would it cost a black woman, a brown woman, an indigenous woman more or less to rise or awaken? Would it cost her more or less to choose and fight for success on her terms? Or do you think it would be equal to every other woman out there? Yet, this truth often goes unvoiced and unsaid. Like we all live the same life because we all breathe the same air and we all have access to the same 24 hours in a day. Like simply buying a personal development book written by a white guy or a white woman who has no understanding of what it means to live in a black or brown body could magically help you shift into success. Like it works like that. Like the blueprint, like the formula, it doesn't see color. But isn't this what we're sold and taught all the time? When every book in the personal development and spirituality section on the bestseller list that's being applauded and touted as the next best thing features people who don't look like me or who have never lived or experienced life like me. So then where does that leave me? With the belief that if I could just be like them, then that's the magical cure. The problem becomes me, that I'm not enough. I'm here to say that I'm not the problem. We are not the problem. That's another lie which just keeps on feeding the system and continues to create the very same reality I'm hearing people say that they've had enough of. And so to me, that doesn't make sense. A few weeks back, I was listening to something, a conversation with a quite successful woman, a white lady, feminist, really quite successful in the personal development world. And she was sharing her awakening story. And she proposed or outlined a 2-stage process for awakening. Stage 1, where, we're going about our normal everyday business. We're being ruled by the ego. We're in survival. We're trapped in fear. We're blind to anything beyond the hustle and grind. We're just basically trying to get through, and we're doing the best that we can. Yeah, there's ego. Yeah, there's fear. And yeah, there's all this stuff. And then there's stage 2, the stage where something flips and suddenly, I guess, our eyes are open. We're seeing things in new ways. We're seeing life through new eyes, and everything begins to open up. We're awakening. We're going through the process of awakening. But as I listened to her, do you know what came up for me? A question. Why is it that there are some people who are more likely to stay in stage 1 than others? Because it's a real thing. It's a real thing, something that I've witnessed and noticed, something that as I said, when I looked at the proportion, the negligible amount of black and brown women who are speaking in this space, who are owning this space, it's minute. I mean, I couldn't find them in my community, in my network. Why is that? She didn't mention the very real barriers, blocks, systemic obstacles that are designed to keep black and brown people exactly where they are. Not because they wouldn't want to awaken, quote unquote, but because the system is alive and actively prevents it. You won't get a white person saying this in a self-help book or on a workshop or retreat, because intersectionality has become a buzzword without any meat or bones. And the thing which really got me was when she said how she was able to access a team of support on her journey. Therapists and other people were able to help her on her journey. And I thought, wow, like, that's great for you. But her story then became something that I just couldn't relate to. And I'm sure that there are others who would hear that and they would just be like, this is so far removed from my reality. Because I know I've not had people or teams of support to get me where I am. I've had to carve out sanctuary and space for myself in the midst of systems that want to eat me alive. And that's been some hard stuff to get through. Just the other day, like a few weeks back, I paid £97 for a psychotherapy session, a one-off psychotherapy session with a psychotherapist acquaintance, a lovely white lady that I know. And even though I knew I needed that support, I trusted her, I wanted to be in that space with her, it took me weeks to make the decision without feeling guilt or shame. And then there was actually paying for it. And it wasn't because of the money, it was because of everything the system had conditioned and taught me to believe about myself, about my worth, about what I could spend on, or about when I was allowed to rest and thrive. And these are just some of the invisible blocks I carry as a black woman and mother. So really, when I think about it, it's no wonder, when I think about it, it's no wonder that there are so few of us in this space. And it brought me to like a huge realization. I move mountains every day. Like, this is what it means to move mountains. As a post-Christian, deconstructed Christian, ex-Christian, whatever, There's a Bible verse, a scripture that is ingrained in my mind and the minds of so many people who were deeply in Christianity, who were and who are deeply in Christianity. Basically, the Bible verse says that if you had faith the size of a mustard seed, you could tell the mountain to move and it would get the hell up and throw itself into the sea. But the way it's taught, is so funny that it's crazy. It's like faith becomes an actual supernatural power where, somehow through a type of magic or being special mates with God, that you can literally pick up a mountain, put it into the sea, or, lift up mountain-sized obstacles or hurdles, or create impossible outcomes in your life. So what we were trained to do, what I was trained to do until I was brave and courageous enough to let go of those beliefs that has shaped me, what we are trained to do is pray. Pray. There is an acronym, PUSH, push. Pray until something happens. It's rampant in Black churches. They will say, push, push, push. Pray until something happens. Literally, don't do anything about it. Pray, push. And I will get this from my family as well. Pray about it. Jesus will do it for you. So what are we trained to do? Pray, wait, fast, beat ourselves up, endlessly give and tithe and do good deeds, doubt and get scared when it doesn't materialize, because obviously, again, that means that we are the problem and we don't have faith. We don't have the right type of faith. We don't have any kind of faith. How can people raised, being taught to believe and see the world through that lens, how can they, in this system that we live in, how can they experience success? How can they create success on their own terms? Success isn't neutral. We don't all have the same starting point. This, to be honest, is just a weapon used to keep people who believe in this kind of thing, lots and lots and lots and lots of Black people, either Christians or Muslim. Very, very, very rare now that it's anything different. Thank you, colonisation. It's just a weapon used to keep Black communities in place. It's a mindset. No, it's beyond a mindset. It's a embodiment sense. It's just a way of being. It's a way of existing, passed down generationally. It's encoded in DNA now. It's not simply through inaction, but through emotional and mental slavery. Because having faith, what I now know, as I said, I recognize, I move big mountains every day, bloody holding the dream that I have for myself, for my daughter, for women, and doing the work to bring it into reality. That is moving a mountain. The life that I'm living every day, I'm in the storm, I'm carrying all this weight, and I'm not folding. I'm holding the vision. I'm putting one foot in front of the other while the flesh is being ripped from my body in strips as I move through the storm. But I'm still moving and I'm not giving up. I'm scared. I'm terrified because I have these hopes and dreams, and everything that has raised me up, that I've learned through the years. My ego says, what if? And you can't, and you're not allowed because, but I'm still pressing on. This is what makes me a mountain mover, and this is what makes us mountain movers. Because this is what faith looks like. It's not on my knees. It's not endlessly praying. It's not looking up to the clouds for deliverance. But right here, through my own hands, through my own feet, through my own choices, through my mouth, the words that I speak, when I say yes and what I say no to. This is why and how I can move mountains. This kind of I don't give an F-ness, and I'm trying to not let this get too explicit because I don't want to tick the explicit button on this episode. This is a fundamental shift in being. Because, listen, who wants to get so beaten up and messed up in the storm that it feels like your skin's being ripped off your body? Who wants that? Not anyone in their right mind. But when you have an outcome, a future, a vision, a dream, a goal, desire, and you cannot settle for the perceived safety or comfort or whatever you were taught, there is no choice. The only choice is forward and through. Everything that comes off us, everything that is stripped off from us in the process of transformation is being replaced by something new, something truer. And I won't make it pretty or poetical and say that it's something beautiful, but maybe, just maybe, it's your own inner fire rising up like the phoenix. Because I tell you what life has taught me is that I am stronger than I thought I was. I'm stronger than I even allowed myself to be. And I'm definitely stronger than the system gave me permission to be. And I'm not talking about the kind of strength that looks like having a bent back, but the strength that says, I believe in me, even if and when you try to stop me. Something inside me says, the life that I desire to create, that I am creating, is too damn important and worthy to allow your fear of my vastness to keep me stuck. There's a quote that I hear cited a lot, especially within Black communities. You are your ancestors' dream. And it's lovely. It's a lovely quote. But here's also what I know to be true. Yes and no. Yes, because hypothetically, maybe our ancestors would have wanted us to live that dream of a better life. But if you come from a marginalized, minoritized, and colonized background, they would have also been part of the very same system trying to keep you safe by keeping you in your place. No, don't go there. It's too dangerous. It's not safe. It won't work. Who do you think you are? This is what it means to be a Black woman and mother doing the work. Recognizing that it's not just the barriers you face right now that are keeping you stuck, but also recognizing that you carry the weight through your ancestral line of people who were taught to stay in their place, to be safe and survive. And those people are still around you. They're not just in the past. People who will continue to shape you according to those beliefs without knowing that this is the exact same reason why they are still struggling and surviving today, no matter how much they pray, no matter how much they wait, no matter how much they believe, no matter how much they fast, no matter how much they work and struggle. So then what? For me, it comes back to realizing that success isn't neutral. As soon as I realize and understand this, I take back power. I take back ownership. I become the creator, and I give myself the opportunity to enter into creatrix energy. In order for me to define or redefine my definition of success, I've had to awaken to how much success has already been defined and shaped for me. Success isn't neutral. It's cultural, colonized, conditioned. In a world where I was taught to wait for someone to save me, whether that was Jesus or God from on high, or whether that was a great boss or a great company who would see my value and pay me well so I could live a cushy life, or finally being accepted on equal terms by people who would never really know my struggle. What I'm birthing through this podcast as a creatrix, how I'm living as a woman, how I'm walking as a mother, how I'm choosing to work and succeed becomes revolutionary. It becomes the things that changes and disrupts systems. Not just me, but me walking this road, helping others like me walk this road. This is what creates change. My version of success is one I have had to unearth, not inherit. This work, this unearthing, this mountain moving, this revolutionary redefining of success, it's not work that you do alone. I don't want to do it alone. It's not work that you do in spaces that weren't built for you, by people who can't see you, using frameworks that don't account for your reality. This work requires something different, something that honors the weight that we've had to carry, the complexity of the life that we've had to live, of who we are, the dreams that were brave enough and courageous enough to dream and give birth to, despite the struggle, the fight, the conditioning. And so I want to end this episode by calling out to the woman listening who recognizes themselves in my story. Yes, we might be different. Our stories might be different. But if you feel that stirring, and if you know that you're ready to move your own mountains, there's more. There's a space being born for exactly this type of work. The next episode will be the last episode of this limited series podcast. I want to send out a special call to the women who know that they are ready to step into their power as creatrix, who are done with waiting for permission, shrinking to fit themselves into spaces that just were never meant for them, done accepting definitions of success that ignore their lived reality and pretend that it's all equal when it's not. And in the next episode, I want to talk more. I've been talking about creatrix a lot. I want to talk more about the space that I'm opening up, creatrix rising, what that means and what it offers for those who are hearing the call and know it's their time. I will see you on the next episode. You've been listening to the Awakening Woman Ready to Thrive. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to take part in our special launch giveaway. You could win a spot in either the Awakening Path or Creatrix Rising, and everyone who enters will receive a beautiful thank you bundle featuring resources and gifts from incredible women across my community. Entering is simple, and all the details are in the show notes. And if you'd like to contribute a resource to the thank you bundle or support the podcast in another way, just reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Most of all, thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next episode.